Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome to The Culture Hack. I'm your host, Adam Colazetti. We are here in studio again. And if you didn't catch last episode, we're here talking with Intactix, and they are talking about measuring safety culture, and they're doing all sorts of amazing things. So welcome back, Rob. Jason, thanks so much for coming back.
Great to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So last time we got a little bit technical. We talked about leading indicators. We talked about, what we're able to measure now versus the whole story. But I really want to talk about some stories, some real safety stories that have happened in our industry right here in Calgary. So Rob, do you have anything that comes to mind?
Oh, geez. Unfortunately, Adam, there's too many. That's really the issue. But lots come to mind. And it really relates back to those leading and lagging indicators and safety performance. Because what we've discovered, and I think it's fairly well known at this point, is a false sense of assurance that is out there. So we had one organization, they look fantastic. Award-winning, multiple safety awards, good, total recordable incident rates. They're on multiple registries. So these contractor registries that you say, we're good to go, had numerous audits done by their customers. And then we had a very serious incident that happened, basically demolished a facility. They got extremely lucky. Everybody seemed to they did walk away from it. And that really led us onto the path of what we do. And it was sort of shocking to them, because when we did our evaluation, we found that there are opposite ends of the spectrum. Like on the one hand, using current measures, we're in the top, 1%. And in our measures, we're coming back and saying, well, actually, you're like only 8.7% effective in creating an environment where we're going to identify problems early and respond to them. So that was huge for these guys.
Holy smokes, 8%.
8%.
So you're award-winning, top of your industry, like thinking you're doing everything right. And then you guys come along and measure the full picture, and you say, holy smokes, you're an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah, actually, and in this case, an accident did happen, which is unfortunately the case, Adam, because if we went to them before this had happened, they would say, why would we do an evaluation? We are good. Everybody tells us we're good.
Right.
And their entire C-suite thought they were good until the incident occurs and they find out, well, I'm sitting at 8.7% effectiveness. That was jarring to them.
Yeah. The good news is they kind of get a get out of jail free card, so to say, because one of our breakthroughs is they've never been measured in a way that we're measuring them.
Right.
So we actually measure every company compared to a high reliable organization like the airlines. So they've never been scored compared to how effective they are like the airlines at eliminating risk and finding risk and preventing failure. So it's kind of like, oh, well, we didn't know this existed. We do all this stuff, and they do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we cut through that stuff and connect the dots in a new way that just gives them a new score that's really all about finding, investigating, and eliminating risks that they didn't know existed.
And yes, in this case, they're very fortunate. But unfortunately, in a lot of cases we deal with, they're not so fortunate. People are seriously injured. Sometimes they're dead, or we've created major property damage, environmental sort of issues. But that's when they become aware of it, which is why I say they're running around with this false sense of assurance. Don't do anything until something bad happens.
Well, every organization, after every big incident, what they always say, senior leadership, they feel blindsided. They never see it coming in the face of doing a lot of compliance, a lot of regulation, a lot of software, a lot of technology, culture that cares.
Right.
They never see it coming.
We hear the same questions from board of directors and C-suites. We hear, how could this happen? As Jason said, we do all this stuff. They ask, what more can we be doing? And when they go back to the safety professionals, they say, well, we're already doing it all, do more. And interesting from our point of view, they ask is, what don't we know? And that's a lot. And when we look at it from a safety standpoint, our senior executives probably know about 4% of what happens on the ground. So we have this lack of visibility that occurs from the people at the top. The people with the budget and authority aren't hearing what the problems are. So they can't address it until something happens. Now you're in a court of law.
Right. Yeah, that's the worst phone call as a business owner or CEO that you ever want to get, is that there's been an incident. right?
Absolutely. And on some of our major infrastructure projects, a lot of media attention to it, a lot of increased regulatory scrutiny that comes along with it, project delays, supply chain issues that come, a lot of cost overruns. It's significant when that happens.
Never mind your reputation, right?
So imagine
Absolutely.
if you could get ahead of it and be proactive and see that stuff before it happened.
Right?
That's the future world we're building.
Gotcha. So you measure it. So somebody comes along and says, I don't want to be blindsided. Like Intactix, take me through your program.
Yeah.
You're going to measure it. You're going to give them a score.
Yeah.
And then they're going to say, okay, well, how do I improve my score? Like, what do I do?
Yeah, that's basically the whole methodology. You just nailed it, Adam. We start with an evaluation that gives them a baseline score, 8.7%.
Yeah.
Then we take them through performance improvement that tells them how they need to change those scores that are there. And really importantly, we monitor how well they're doing between the baseline and sort of post-intervention to see are they actually executing on some of those fundamentals that are going to make them successful. That creates the visibility.
Those cultural fundamentals.
Right.
And so it actually is really easy. You don't need to be a safety professional. You need to be an expert. We make the invisible visible. And they literally have this aha moment. They said, oh, I didn't even know that was missing.
Right.
And I know how to fix that. Red is bad, green is good. I can turn that green. And literally within like 100 days, they can eliminate all the red. And one of our clients reduced their potential high consequence risk, the serious stuff, more than 86%.
Wow.
By just making the invisible visible and eliminating it. And now they have this culture from the ground floor all the way up to the board that is aligned and all about finding risk, investigating and fixing it.
Yeah, that's really what it does. It provides, it clearly articulates the problem. So instead of just talking about culture, I have some numbers that directly relate to it. And it provides a direct line of sight to that improvement. The rest of it is easy. It's the middle part, what skills, tools, knowledge that they have to have and actually to do that. And it is fast,
Right.
remarkably fast.
Because you're talking with, these organizations are filled with very skilled, very mindful people there already. So if you are measuring something that's not visible, they'll figure out how to fix it and they'll do it fast.
Absolutely.
You bet.
Right?
Absolutely.
You bet.
Okay, interesting.
And you know what frontline workers, this is kind of, we work for these guys.
Yeah.
They love to tell you where things are that could hurt them, that could shut down operations, serious stuff. We're not worried about gopher holes.
Right.
We're not worried about the little things, but they will tell you where the serious stuff is that could impact their job.
That is amazing. I was part of a program that was overhauling some manufacturing processes. And then part of that, they started these huddles where they started talking and the concept of safety came up. And I was in the leadership meeting and the owner said, did you know that I was in the huddle this morning and that they're out back climbing that ladder, like that rickety old ladder up like 3 stories every day just to it was shocking that this was going on. And the result was really no one had asked them, so they just kept doing it. Right?
You bet.
That's the environment that's been created.
Yeah.
That's really, it's crazy to me that this problem exists. Now that I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's why we like to call it the big safety short. We kind of want to put a stick in the fan of all that everyone's doing. They're doing a lot of stuff, but it's a play off the Big Short.
Right.
Michael Burry he was incredible. He was the only person that actually went all the way to the ground floor, that knocked on the doors, and Steve Carell's character, to actually see the paper behind all these mortgages and whatnot. And he's like, it's a house of cards.
Right.
Like, he went and looked at the data. While everyone else was selling it, Wall Street, packaging it up, he looked at the data and says, this is not good, it's gonna come crumbling down. And so what we've discovered is we've done the same thing. We've gone all the way to the ground floor, and we look at the data, the actual data, and we've determined that there's a big false sense of assurance, a big house of cards. This explains exactly why organizations are blindsided.
Wow. And you guys are actually going to start your own show, tentatively titled The Big Safety Short.
There you go.
Is that right?
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about that. What are you guys going to be talking about? Who are you going to be talking to?
The front lines, the people that are tired,
Okay.
that are exhausted of safety and all that it's become. We're really trying to create a new paradigm, and from the ground up, these frontline workers that are willing to raise their hand and say, there's a better way. We don't want to throw out all this stuff that we're doing. Some of it's good, but it's not making us safer. It's really not. And let's talk about culture and safety culture from the grassroots, the front lines, all the way up to the board, and where this information flows. And so that's basically the theme, and people that are willing to kind of just tell the truth.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to get you guys in studio and see what you guys are going to do.
Nice.
So thanks so much for talking to me. Really quick before we go, if somebody wants to get a hold of you guys and does not want to be blindsided, how do they get a hold of you?
Our website, Intactix.ca, and on there's a form you can fill out that comes right into us.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much,
Perfect.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.